This week, Mike Pizzullo's drums of war are beating comments have got a lot of attention.
It's no point being panicked or alarmed, but you always have to be vigilant and alert and prepared.
I just think people need to be realistic about the activity when there's militarisation of bases across the region.
Every 2 years, Australia, the US and regional allies undertake combined military drills known as Exercise Talisman Sabre. For the third time, a Chinese surveillance vessel has been detected in nearby international waters.
This is a repeat of what the Chinese have done in years past. There would be both covert and overt activities from the Chinese, and there's a ever-present PLA Navy operation underway somewhere in the East China Sea or South China Sea. Obviously their tempo has ramped up dramatically, and this is why, in part, it's very important for this operation to be a great success.
Professor Rory Medcalf is the head of the National Security College at the Australian National University. So, Rory Medcalf, how different is Operation Talisman Sabre this year?
So the exercise is occurring in a different context. There's greater tension in the region, the South China Sea, the East China Sea, Taiwan, the India-China border. It's becoming more real. So as a war-fighting exercise, an exercise with amphibious activities, with combined operations of many countries, it's becoming more, if you like, substantial as a deterrent signal. It has the South Koreans participating, as well as the Japanese and, of course, the Australians, the Americans and others. So again, it reflects a wider potential coalition to balance Chinese power. And perhaps not so different now, once again, we've got the Chinese Navy coming to pay a surveillance visit.
And that's become a standard thing in the last 2 or 3 years, I think.
Well, the last two Talisman Sabres. So really, this is now, if you like, the last 4 to 6 years, we've seen this as a regular occurrence. And of course, were there to be a Chinese naval base of some sort in the South Pacific, we'd see essentially a permanent presence of a vessel like this potentially in the region. It's not necessarily a terrible or unusual thing that China will want to collect intelligence on an exercise like this. In fact, it's a sign that the Chinese take this seriously as an example of the combined capability of America and its allies to deter them in a future confrontation.
Well, we've seen some language just now from the Defence Minister Peter Dutton. Is that an escalation of Australia's language, and how does that fit with what other people in the region are saying?
Look, I don't think it's an escalation. It's not a winding back, but it's actually in keeping with a tenor of concern across the region, across the Indo-Pacific and globally about risks of conflict and about really China's confrontational behaviour. We've had NATO recently, we've had the G7, we've had a Japanese defence white paper this week with a stark image of a samurai fighter on the cover. The Japanese defence minister talking about Japan supporting Taiwan. We've got, of course, the Americans expressing concern from Indo-Pacific Command. We've even got the New Zealand Prime Minister today talking more clearly about an Indo-Pacific vision for New Zealand, where New Zealand would support partners resisting Chinese coercion. So I don't think it's a radical departure, but it's a confirmation of the line we heard from the Defence Update last year, that the Australian Defence Force is for deterrence. It is preparing for warlike scenarios, and the public really needs to be aware and prepared for those possibilities.
Rory Medcalf, thanks so much for going through that with us.
Thanks, Laura.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 7:30's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.